All right, all right. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, brothers and sisters. We're excited to come to you live here this evening. This is the Money Game Show, so Black people can win and dominate. I'm your host, Brother Daryl Muhammad. Excited to be with you this evening for episode number two. Number two. Now, if you missed episode number one, we did 2 weeks ago. Definitely go to the channel, the Closing the Gap broadcast channel, and make sure you check it out. We had a good introduction show there. But today we have another great show for you. But before we get into that, I'd be remiss if I did not thank the Closing the Gap broadcast network, brother Minister James, brother Minister Chad, and Sister Starla, for allowing me this opportunity to come before you to bring to you something that has been a part of my life for the last 44 years. Something that I know for sure that we as Black people in America need second than air itself, second than the love of God. We definitely need to learn and understand how to win and dominate at the money game. Even so much so, brothers and sisters, what I did in November, I came out with my book this past November, The Money Game, so Black people can win and dominate. So this show is based on the concepts that I cover in this book. It's only 19 chapters. It's 200 pages. And I'm here to tell you, surely you cannot cover all the aspects of money that's necessary for us to win and dominate in one book, in two books, in three books, in volumes of books. Because it's unlimited when it comes to numbers. When it comes to money, brothers and sisters, we're talking about numbers, okay? So we're going to cover that. We're going to cover that on every show, some concepts out of this book and expound on them. But I want you to get your copy. How do you do that? Before you get your copy, what I want you to do, I want to give you a gift, right? If you're going to win and dominate the money game, you have to understand the law of abundance. There is no lack in Allah, God's universe. So don't operate from lack, operate from abundance. So with that being in mind, just by you going to the website on your screen, themoneygamebook.com, I'm going to give you 2 free gifts just by giving me your name and address, email address. Why? Because to win and dominate the money game, you can't play it by yourself. You have to have coaches. You have to have mentors. You have to always be a student. You have to network with people. So by you giving me your name and email address, this allows us to connect, allows us to expand this idea that's in this book and make it practical and real in our lives. Because anything short of that is just good talk, anything short of that. And I talk about in my book, we have to stop romanticizing money, right? Stop romanticizing money. So the show is built on that concept. I'm going to bring on guests that are going to actually show us, give us tools and show us how to put these pieces together so we can win and dominate at the money game, brothers and sisters. Don't you think it's time for us to win and dominate? We've been here over 400 and some odd years. We see people come into this country and they win and dominate. So what is our situation? What do we need different from what everybody else need so we can win and dominate? My book talks about that. I call it requisite knowledge. All right. So we want to thank Brother Minister Chad and Brother Minister James and Sister Starla for this opportunity. We are excited. We're going to bring some amazing guests to the show. Starting with tonight, we're going to talk about wealth, building wealth through home ownership. Okay. So get your questions ready, because the second half of the show, we're going to bring on our special guest, Sister Karimah Muhammad, so we can have a dialogue, a conversation about that very thing. And you'll be able to put your questions in the chat there, and we'll put them on the screen and we'll answer them, because we have to tackle this idea of not just playing the money game, but playing it to win and dominate. So we're going to talk about wealth tonight. We need to be clear on these terms. There's a lot of terms that revolve around money and getting rich and getting a bag and, you know, and building wealth and financial freedom. So just like in any profession, just like in any discipline, being it music, being it martial arts, whatever it is, there's terminology that we have to understand. Because if we don't understand them, then we won't understand what is being communicated to us, and we'll misunderstand what it means, and then we'll make bad decisions. All right. So we have to go to the fundamentals. We have to go to the basics. Okay. So just like I said on the back of the book, brothers, so for those who have the book, definitely read the back because it gives you a good context of the book. My book is purposely designed and written not to be like 99% of any other book about money. Of course, it has some things in there about money. Of course it does. If you're going to talk about a subject, you have to address certain things. But it's so much more. Purposely, it's so much more. I put in it and trickled in it and sprinkled throughout the book the other elements that I've come to learn that is vitally important for us to be able to win and dominate at the money game. It goes far beyond technique and strategy, I say on the back of the book, right? What we need is what I call requisite knowledge, not prerequisite, requisite knowledge. I got that from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And being a student under his guidance for now, God willing, 32 years, I know that he's very precise in his language. He's very precise in his choice of words. So when I heard requisite, most of us, and at least in my mind, I thought, did he mean prerequisite? So I looked up the word for clarification. So prerequisite means something has to happen first before something else can happen. Let me give you an example. Before we are able as Black people in America, so you have to make things relevant to our condition, our situation, our history. So prior to Black folks, prior to us being able to go to lunch counters, go to the same restroom, public restrooms, before that could happen, laws had to be passed. See what I'm saying? So the law was the prerequisite to us being able to go to hotels. Get it? Now, requisite knowledge only means that you need to get something in order to fulfill a purpose. See, so nothing blocks us from getting requisite knowledge that we need. Nothing has to happen that's out of our control to stop us from getting the requisite knowledge that we need. Information, knowledge, in order to carry out a particular purpose. See? So you and I have to determine what is our specific purpose. And now we need to now go out and get the specific knowledge for that. And the requisite knowledge that I submit to us as Black people, Black Americans, children of ex-slaves, what I submit to us, the requisite knowledge is, as we call it in the Nation of Islam, it is the knowledge of self. The knowledge of self. Now we'll go more into that throughout these episodes of shows, because see, you have to unpack that to know exactly what that means and how to obtain it. The knowledge of self. But that's what we need, and that's what I learned on my 44-year sojourn in the space. In the space of financial freedom, in the space of getting rich and wealthy and getting money and living this ambiance life. There's nothing wrong with that life. We're going to deal with all these money myths, all these things that stop us as Black people from maximizing the money game opportunity. Because you and I both know, brothers and sisters, anything that we understand and we get involved in and we give our 100% at, we blow it out the water. We outperform everybody by miles. I mean, there's no comparison, right? So the same thing with the money game. That's why they know this. They understand this. And that's why they keep the masses of us. The masses mean the ones that they don't handpick. They keep those of us from understanding how to win and dominate at the money game. But we're here by Allah's grace, following the example of the Honorable Minister Louis Farham, to uncover the mystery, uncover the boogeyman, to pull back the curtain and uncover so you can see who the Wizard of Oz really is. It's not some big voice, right, behind a curtain, and then Richard Pryor comes from behind. He's some little bitty man, scared to death, hide behind a big voice. So these are the things that we're going to unpack here, right? And then we're going to bring the mass. We're going to bring guests with mass. They call it mass, right? Substance and mass. So you can further see how. I'm going to deal with the what. How. So requisite knowledge is what we need. Because I asked a question on, like I was saying, in these past 44 years, at the very beginning of this journey, I asked myself, I said, wow, all this information is out here in the public domain. And we're getting it. We're going to seminars, right? We're getting these courses. We're going to get higher education. But what's the problem? Yeah, racism, I got all that. Not that we ignore that, but we can't control that. And I've come to learn that us uniting, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, with the right understanding, with truth of the situation, then we can tear down all barriers, including institutional racism. Ask the Jewish people. They're a good example of that. Good example of that. And that's the blueprint for us to follow. So I asked myself many years ago, because if it's out of my control totally, and it's because I'm Black in America, then I don't need to try so hard to try to live a good life if it's not possible, or the best life, or better yet, as nice of a life as anybody else. Not a nice life being Black in America, but a nice life, period, compared to anybody. And this is what I discovered over the years, and I put in my book, brothers. So that's why you need to go to that website, themoneygamebook.com. Oh, I mentioned about the 2 free gifts. One of them is the audio that you get instantly. Download instantly the audio. It talks about the money game. My concept of what do I mean? Because everybody may mean something different to everybody, right? What do I mean? That's for us, that we need to understand as Black people in America. So you get that audio immediately, right? And then the second gift is coming up pretty soon, and I need your help with this. As soon as I get 100 people or more to subscribe to that website, go in there and put their email address and name. We have about 18 more to meet, but we want to exceed the 100 subscriber number. But once we hit that number, exceed that number, then I'm going to email everybody on this particular list right here. We're going to have a private, elusive, exclusive Zoom call with me, right? So you can ask any question that you want about the book, the concept, the ideas, right? You can ask me, Brother Darrell, that sounds good, but how do I apply that to my life? So that call is going to allow us probably go about an hour and a half, depending on how many people are on there. But that's what that second free gift is. Then on that second page, you'll get the opportunity to buy the book. All right? So that's what I want you to do. Don't go to any other page to get the book. Go to themoneygamebook.com. Put in your information. Page 2, you buy the book. So requisite knowledge. And I realized, I asked the question, why is it we have all this information, but we can't max out? Because I know once we really wrap our hands around this, our mind around it, you won't be able to stop us, period. And for it to be so freely available and we taking advantage of it, but we're not making the kind of strides that we could, you right? In this city, in that city, in this, we are making progress now. Don't get me wrong, get me right. But there's 40 million of us. It take a whole lot of chipping away at something to carve out freedom for us as a people. When there's 40 million of us, that's a whole nation of people. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we're a nation within a nation, and that is true. All right. So because I said, so the book is designed. We don't need more techniques, strategies, and What about crypto? What about real estate? What about stock options? What about forex? What about other derivatives? What about a commodity? See, brothers and sisters, we don't need more of that. If you're going to think that this book is just strategies and techniques, then you're going to be disappointed. That's why I'm trying to prepare your mind, and I want you to get that free audio to prepare your mind that, oh, this is something different. This is something deep. This is something more than just, okay, I'm going to learn the latest and the greatest trick on how to make money, a shortcut to how to make money. See, we have to get away from that, brothers and sisters. That's called the shiny object syndrome. And I've been in this space for a long time to know that we always the last one to catch a trend, if you will, the last one to get game on something that's really solid for us to make money at, right? We're the last ones to get in. But when the big boys get out, we're the ones that lose. Okay? Because I watch them. They pump a stock and dump a stock. They pump a stock and dump a stock. We get in on the pump and get left holding the bag on the dump. And they make money going in and coming out, right? So these are the things that we have to understand. And then I say on the back of the book, brothers and sisters, we have to be wise like the Jewish people. The Jewish people used their unique suffering of the Holocaust. They use that to unite themselves. That's the glue to have them come together and stick together. And they have differences because they're human beings like everybody else. But they use a glue, super glue, if you will, that is so strong that it brings them together and keeps them stuck together, even though, their differences want to pull them apart. They use that to galvanize sympathy from the world, to help them. And they use that internally as a motivation or inspirational drive for generations and generations and generations to come. That's what this book is written for. That is why this book is in existence. That is why you should get this book if you're about that life. If that's your objective, if you feel what I'm saying, then that book is for you. That book is for you, brothers and sisters. And then we can connect. We're going to have a lot of private events based on you getting on board, going to that website, getting on my list. Because I've learned that the big boys, the players, the ones that control what we see, they're in the background. You don't see them. It's what you don't see, as the Holy Quran says. It's the unseen. That's where it's done. That's where it's played. So, the money game show, so black people can win and dominate, is to pull back the covers, right? To show us, to give you game, give us game, to let us know the inside play. God, Allah, God bless me, brothers and sisters, to be part of a very, very small group of individuals. From 1996 to 2002, I was blessed just from a desire of mine to become a stockbroker back then, now called financial advisor, for two major Wall Street firms. This is part of my 44-year journey, and I'll share it more throughout the other episodes. All right. So I was blessed. I wanted to be a stockbroker. So I became a stockbroker, financial advisor for two major Wall Street firms. One, I started with Dean Witter, now Morgan Stanley. Dean Witter is that same brokerage firm that the brother, I forgot his name, Gardner, Will Smith did the movie Pursuit of Happiness, right? Well, the brother that he played, Gardner, I believe his name was, he came on board as a stockbroker at Dean Witter out of San Francisco, my hometown. But I came on with Dean Witter, went through that grueling, I'll have to tell you later, grueling freshman initiation or whatever you want to call it. It was grueling. But by Allah's grace, I figured it out and I made the cut. And then I left Dean Witter, went to some banks, doing the same thing, then ended up at Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab's still around, one of the major brokerage firms there. Was there a couple of years managing. I mean, over my career, I probably managed, I don't know, $100 million of assets over that 6 year period. So, but what the thing is, brothers and sisters, I realized, I come to find out that I was part of a very, very small group. I was part of a group of less than 1%. 1% of individuals at that time were minorities in the brokerage field. 1% were minorities. 1% was minorities. That means that less than 1% were black men. Right? And the reason being is because they don't let you get that close to big money. Especially the largest pool of money in the world is the stock market of the United States of America. America has the largest economy in the world. The second largest is 10 times smaller. See, so we don't know really why people from around the world come to America. They might not know. They just say land of opportunity. But what is that opportunity? It's the largest economic market in the world. In the world. So that's what they want to keep us out of, because that's a whole nother world. So Allah blessed me to become a stockbroker, financial advisor. So I was on the inside of Wall Street looking out. 99.9% of us are on the outside looking in. So I was very fortunate to see and then go in with a mindset of Black economic empowerment with those glasses on, right? And I'm like, wow, this is what's going on. This is what they're doing. Okay, good. At one time, sometime in the future, I'm going to share it with my people. So just like other communities do, so we can have the inside knowledge that only those on the inside can learn, so we can bring it to you. So that's what this show is about. That's what this episode is about. That's what future episodes are about. It's about wealth. For tonight, we're going to talk about wealth, because we have to understand, brothers and sisters, there's a difference between wealthy and being rich, right? There's a difference between wealthy and being rich. There's a big difference between the two, right? So we have to be clear, because you don't want to shoot for wealth thinking rich, and you don't want to shoot for rich thinking wealthy. We have to be clear with these words. We have to be clear with these definitions. We have to be clear with the object, the destination that we're trying to accomplish and achieve, right? And I give example all the time. If I want to get to the moon, I'm wasting my time looking at a car, looking at a boat, looking at a motorcycle. No matter how fast it goes, it's linear, right? It's not vertical, it's linear, right? So these are the things you have to understand. So if I'm trying to go to the moon financially, then I should only spend my time on that which is going to help me to go vertical and not horizontal faster. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So these are the things that we have to understand. These are things I'm going to help you understand. So you don't have to go through 44 years, right, of that. You don't have to do it. I'll save you the time. I'll give you the hack. I'll give you game, because brothers and sisters, believe it or not believe it or not, right? There's others in other folks' communities that they go get the information, they bring it back to their community, and they build for their community. They get inside, get the information, build for their community. See, that's a different kind of thinking than what we typically do. We get on the inside, get the information, then we try to bring everybody in. No, that's not winning and dominating. That's not winning and dominating. That's just playing, not to lose. You know what I'm saying? To win and dominate is a whole different mindset. It's a whole different game. So what we should be doing is getting in, like I did, get the information, come out and gather everybody around, say, okay, now here's what they doing. Here's how you do it. Here's how we can do it. And this is the reason why. Does that make sense? So tonight we're going to talk about wealth, brothers and sisters. We have to talk about wealth, because I heard a statistic the other day. I forgot what show I was watching, but it said by 2036, listen to this, by 2036, how many more years is that? 12 years? The net worth of black family is going to be zero or maybe even a negative number. In the next 12 years, by 2026, this is not talking about the wealth gap. That's going to just make the wealth gap bigger between blacks and whites and black and Asians, black and Hispanics, right? It said by 2026, brothers and sisters, the net worth of black families will be zero. Unless you're not a black family in America, then it's talking about you. Unless I'm not a black family in America, it's talking about me. But we can't see that now. You say, oh, but that's not true. I got a house. I got a good job. I'm a couple of years from retirement. I'm doing good. Got some nice income. Got credit card. My credit score is 700. Right? I'm doing good. Got, nice clothes. I'm going on vacation, going to Cancun, going to Jamaica. I'm going. What are you talking about? See what I'm saying? We got to understand these words. They're talking about net worth. Net worth. Net worth. They're not talking about income. They're not talking about salary. They're not talking about how much money you have in the bank. They're talking about net worth. See, so you have to determine, we have to go in and learn these words. Be educated in this area. Just because you have a doctorate degree in engineering, just because you have a doctorate degree in medicine, doesn't mean you have a doctorate degree when it comes to finance, personal finance. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. Right? So we have to understand these things, and we need help. I need help. You need help. And that's what we're going to offer you here, brothers and sisters, because net worth, not to get into the definition, but net worth, just think about that. By 2036, in 12 more years, the net worth for black families, see, it didn't say individuals, black families will be zero. So here at the Money Game Show, so black people can win and dominate, we're going to address these things and not just highlight the problem. Yeah, a blind man can see the problem, but a blind man can't see the solution. We're going to talk about the solution that's necessary in order to address this, because that kind of situation is going to take generations to get rid of. But somebody has to start it. If I don't start it, then I leave it for my daughters to start it. If they don't start it, I leave it for my grandchildren to start it. So if I start it, put it in motion, put it in place, they continue. Then it perpetuates, and it gives each generation a head start. A head start, brother and sister. It gives each generation a head start. Others have done it. I mean, whoever you want to pick. I like to use Donald Trump, but I don't use it often because I know, I use Donald Trump, our eyes glaze over, but it's all of them. It's whoever they are. If they're at a certain level, bro, that's what I've learned. If they're at a certain level, they at that level because they learn how to play the money game to win and dominate, because there's rules. There's certain things you and I have to do to take advantage of those things in order to even get up into that level of winning and dominating. So we're gonna disabuse you of all of this craziness that keeps us, confused and keeps us illusional and so people can take advantage of you. Because we can't make clear decisions being disillusioned, being confused, don't know which way to go, don't know who your friends are, don't know, right? So everybody's either your friend or everybody's your enemy. Neither are true. So tonight we're going to talk about wealth, building wealth with home ownership. I'm excited to bring on a very special sister, but we'll do that after the intermission. So stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break. So get your pen, your pad. Now we're going to talk about how to close this gap, how to deal with this wealth difference, how to win and dominate at the money game. All right. So we'll see you in about 30 seconds or so. We'll be right back. right, brothers and sisters, welcome back to the Money Game Show so black people can win and dominate. We're excited to talk about a very, very important subject tonight. And we're going to start at the top. We're going to start talking about wealth, building wealth with home ownership. That's what we're going to talk about right now, brothers and sisters. So get your pens and pads ready to take some notes because it's all about implementation. This is our second episode, but this is our very first episode with our guest. And I couldn't think of a better person to bring on but this sister right here. This sister is highly experienced in the real estate as a real estate broker, all right, and realtor. She has years and years and years of experience in helping individuals like yourself prepare and purchase their first home. Or if you're an investor, she'll help you purchase your next investment property. She has a wealth of information. This sister is very special to me, and I'll tell you about that another time. But we want to welcome to the Money Game Show our sister, Sister Karimah Muhammad.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, sister, for being here. I tell you what, that's a Sister Karimah, that was a big applause. I don't know if you invited your family. I don't know if your children in the background. You got a bigger applause than even myself. Let me tell you, hey, let's turn the camera around and show the audience and show y'all what I'm seeing here.
Well,
Wow, Sister Karimah, come on now. See, I don't know. We should end this interview right now. I am the host. I'm the boss. This is my house, right? I ain't nobody stood up. I don't know if you saw the introduction when it came on. I got an applause, but Sister Karimah, I didn't get no standing ovation, Sister Karimah. So let's start there, Sister Karimah. What's going on to where you get a standing ovation when you come on other people's show? You got a fan club, or what's going on, Sister Karimah?
no, sir. I don't think I have a fan club, but I do have a lot of supporters. So praise be to Allah for that.
Praise be to Allah. All right. So let's go ahead and have a conversation about this topic here. Wealth, building wealth with real estate, your first home. But before I do that, tell us a little about Sister Karimah. Who is Sister Karimah Muhammad?
My name is Karimah Muhammad, and I am the Maven of real estate. I am the broker owner of the Maven Real Estate Group here in the greater Atlanta area. We are a boutique brokerage. And what that is that we're not a national firm. We're one of the smaller firms, but we cater to the needs of our clients as well as our agents. I've been involved in real estate for some years, ever since I was younger. Um, I used to watch Carlton Sheets. And I'm sure that everybody knows that that's been
No
quite a
Carlton.
yeah, but I've always loved real estate and decorating and homes and different things like that. And so when I was younger, I started getting into wholesaling because I had friends who were investors and they were doing very well. They had done so well that they were living in mansions and driving Mercedes Benz. And we know that the material things is not necessarily the most important, but it gave them that time freedom. And that's what I wanted for myself. And so I was wholesaling, fixing and flipping. And then, I had children. So my life kind of took a turn and I was out of the real estate game for a while. And then I got back into it. And when I moved from Atlanta to Memphis in 2008, I believe it was, I started back with real estate and I was going full for force. And I was always the person that is the go to person. So I said, well, I'm doing all of this and I'm helping all these people and I am making some money in the process. I may as well get my real estate license. And that is what I did in the state of Tennessee in 2015.
All right. All right. Good, good. Now, you mentioned the maven of real estate. What is a maven and how did you get that name? I never heard that until I heard you use that term.
Maven means an expert. It means one who is skilled in their profession. And that is what I strive to be. It is a name that is earned due to my diligence, due to the care of my customers and my clients. People always say, well, you're just such an expert or you're so professional or nobody ever told me that. And I said, wow, I'm an expert. And then I know I'm an expert, but I wanted to find a word that wasn't so commonly used. And so as I searched and I parsed the words, I saw Maven and I said, that is me. And so that is the branding for our company. And we strive to live up to being experts in our field.
Right. Yeah. Now we know Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote the book, what Outliner, says that you have to have at least 10,000 hours to consider yourself as an expert. So we know, sister, you've definitely put in that amount of time. So tell us more about the Maven Real Estate Group, and tell us, are you looking for agents? So kind of tell us about your company.
Well, we are a full service boutique brokerage. That means that we deal with residential and commercial. We deal with land. Right now, we're working on our container home project, mobile homes, pretty much anything that you want in real estate. We also deal with creative financing because there are times when, buyers may not necessarily qualify for a mortgage, but that doesn't mean that we can't get them into a home. So we deal with all things real estate. And right now, we have two agents on our team. We are very selective about the types of agents that we want to work with and we want to represent our business. And we are always looking for um, um, experienced, expert real estate agents who really care about clients.
Okay, well, on that note, how can they reach you if they want to have a conversation about you, becoming an agent? Go ahead, and how can they reach you so they can explore that opportunity?
Well, they can absolutely reach me at 470-779-3759. They can email us at info the Maven of real estate.com, or they can go to our website, which is www.themavenrealestategroup.
Okay, brothers and sisters. Now we're going to give that information again at the end of our interview, so make sure you get ready for that. Okay. Now you mentioned a couple of things. We'll come back to that later about wholesaling and fix and flip. So more about your company now. Now, what projects, or do y'all purchase properties as well as a real estate firm?
Well, our investment portion, which is called Mid South Cash Buyers, that is the company where we purchase properties, um, rehab properties, fixed properties, lease properties, um, under that particular company. So yeah, we do buy properties, and a lot of times, we have sellers that don't want to list their properties for whatever reason. And if we can be of assistance to them and offer them a fair price for their property, it's a win-win-win. Because once we get that property, then that property becomes the home of a family.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. Brothers and sisters, you got to keep in mind we're talking about building wealth through home ownership. And the word is building, right? You have to build up to wealth. It's a step, it's a process. So it's not something that you can just have a good idea, right, or have a few dollars in your pocket, and now boom, you're playing the wealth game, or you're wealthy, right? So we have to understand it's a process, and that's what you should be gathering from this conversation. And we wanted to make sure you understand who Sister Karimah is, her company, right, and what do they do, and how they can help you before we get into building and some things to understand how to use real estate and home ownership to build wealth. Because once you get the information, you're going to need professionals like a Maven of real estate to help you, right? But you want somebody who you like, and you trust, right? So that's why we're helping to help you to understand is more than just whatever, right? You have to know, like, and trust a person, and that's what we're doing on today's show with Sister Karimah. Now, Sister Karimah, what states are you guys currently serving in?
We are licensed in Georgia and also Tennessee. However, we have partners all throughout the country. So wherever you need a real estate agent, for the most part, we do have that available. When you're looking for a real estate agent, you want someone who knows someone. So if you're in Washington, the state of Washington, you don't want to just Google and find the first agent. You can always call us and say, "Hey, Sister Karima, do you all have any agents that you work with in the state of Washington?" And we'll connect you with someone that is going to be reputable in that particular area.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, good. So basically, brothers and sisters, reach out to Sister Karima wherever you are. It doesn't matter, right? Because she knows people. She can connect you with a reliable real estate professional. Because just like any other field, right? Everybody doesn't look out for your best interests. Everybody is not professional, right? A lot of folks are just out there to make a commission, regardless of how it affects you, and move on. Real estate, home ownership, they say, and I believe, home ownership is the one biggest purchase that you will ever make. The one biggest purchase that you will ever make. We'll talk about that. And it's the number one way for most average individuals without some area of expertise to build wealth. Right? I know there's a lot of different ideas out there, a lot of different opinions, but it's it is for the especially for us now. Remember, requisite knowledge, the knowledge of self, what applies for us specifically. What steps do we have to take based on our condition, our sojourner here in America? All right. So let's get into that. So let me ask you this: should everybody buy a house? Everybody? Why or why not, Sister Cream?
Well, honestly, I think that everyone should have ownership of land, a home. Everyone doesn't qualify. So if you're not in a position right now where you can qualify and you can afford a home, owning a home may not be for you right now. Because the one thing about it, once the interest rates went up, we were used to seeing 3, 4% interest rates where a person can purchase a $300,000 home and still be able to afford the mortgage. But now, for the most part, the interest rates are 7.5%, which that changes things. For a $400,000 house in this market, you're going to be paying approximately $3,800 a month. That is a lot to pay. And so, with our clients, certainly we're in the business first to help people, and secondly, to generate revenue for our business. But we actually care about our clients and our customers, whereas they make the final decision. But we're going to say, hey, based on the numbers, based on your income, this may not be a wise decision for you right now, but we also have other options available for them. So no, just depending upon your circumstances, home ownership is not for everyone because it is a trade-off. Whereas you're paying, say for instance, $1,700 a month in rent, that is fine. Everything else that happens is on the landlord. If there's a pipe that bursts, if the hot water tank, if the heat is out, then you get to pick up the phone and say, hey, this is happening and we need you to fix it. But when you own that home, you have to have money set aside. If something happens, you're the responsible party. So it just depends upon a person's financial situation.
Wow. See that's an honest answer, right? How many realtors would tell you that, right? That's an honest answer. It's not for everybody, right? When you hear things out here in the public space, it's as if it's for everybody. There's nothing for everybody. There's nothing for everybody. So let me ask you this, is Karima. So would you advise someone if they're thinking about it to at least get with you and get on the phone with you and do a consultation and things of that nature? Kind of explain if that's something they should do and how they can go about doing that.
It is, even if they're considering purchasing a home and haven't begun the process, or if they don't know where to start, the first thing that they can do is they can reach out to us and they will schedule a consultation. We will either have a phone consultation or a video consultation, much like the interview that we're having right now. And we will find out what their goals are and how we can best assist them in achieving those real estate goals. Sometimes buyers don't even know what questions to ask. So we like to educate our buyers, we educate our sellers so that they can make the best decision for their families.
All right. Good, good. Now, do you have any courses or anything like that, or any kind of you know education that's available for
Something you would ask.
them?
Somebody's letting you in on insider secrets. So we do have some courses that we are working on and some classes we're working on with the other agents that are a part of the brokerage. Because one thing I see a lot of is I see um, a lot of companies taking advantage. of people, charging them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for information that is either free or that they can call us and we can walk them through that process, you know. So we will be doing classes on wholesaling, financial freedom. We have a couple of ebooks that are coming out really soon on how to generate income with digital products. So we have a lot of things going on that we're going to introduce to, I would say, not just the community, but the world in the next few weeks coming.
All right, brother and sister. Remember, you heard it first here at the Money Game Show.
You heard it
Right?
here.
You heard it here first. So you
You
get
heard
first dibs at this very, very valuable training. One thing that I've learned over the years is that training information has to stay current
it.
as it
Yes.
changes. Now, if it doesn't change, add, subtract, multiplication don't change, but some things do change. So you have to keep up. Some of you all are nurses and attorneys. In certain professions, you have to have continual education. As a real estate professional, you have to have stockbroker. You have to have continuous education, and there's a reason why. There's a reason for that. So many times, Sister Karimah, we hear a term, realtor, real estate agent, realtor, real estate agent. Sometimes they're interchangeable, like being rich and wealthy. Being rich and wealthy, they're different, but they use them interchangeably. What is the difference, and why should they choose a realtor over a real estate agent?
Well, realtors and real estate agents do basically the same thing when it comes to clients. What the difference is a realtor is a part of the National Association of Realtors, or NAR, where they're held to higher standards. And there's 17 articles dealing with real estate conduct as a realtor that realtors agree to uphold. And so I definitely recommend, for those that are interested in knowing what they are, just Googling those articles and taking a look at it, because that's one of the things that we ask our clients to do so that they know what to expect from us while we're providing services to them. Absolutely.
So it's a higher standard of professionalism.
It is a higher standard of professionalism. I couldn't have put it better
Right.
myself.
And those that become realtors want to provide that higher standard and separate themselves from someone that just puts in the hours to study and pass the
Mhm.
tests, but their level of professionalism and really commitment to the industry, to the profession, isn't there.
Yeah, and the NAR rules and regulations is often more stringent than the state, and so there are consequences for,
Mm,
misconduct or unethical behavior and things like that. So
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And the reason why, brothers and sisters, because you got to understand, real estate ownership is very, very important, right? Let me tell you how important it is. Back, I don't know, when America was first established, maybe you didn't know, or did you know that only you have to have two requirements to vote in America back during the establishment. One, you had to be a white male, but that wasn't good enough. You had to be a white male and a land owner. If you weren't a white male and didn't own land, you could not vote in America. See, the founding fathers knew how important, and those that are winning and dominating the money game, they know how important home ownership is, because everybody has to have somewhere to live, no matter how broke you are. And that's why, and let's segue into that. That's why buying a home, see, that'd be your first introduction, right, to building wealth through real estate. From that, you'll buy a second home, then a vacation home, or an investment property, because now you understand. But you got to get in the game to play the game. So let's talk about, very quickly, sister, what are the steps, or how can someone start preparing to purchase a home?
Well, first and foremost, the thought has to start in their mind that they want to own a home. And then they're going to contact us, have a consultation, and we're going to walk them through the process. We often ask them, hey, how much savings do you have? Are you prepared to pay closing costs? So these things are all important. Yes, down payment assistance is sometimes available and then sometimes it's not. So a buyer has to be educated and equipped on what is needed and how to get things done. The average real estate agent does not educate their customers and clients the way that we educate ours. Because once we have that initial conversation, okay, these are your goals, this is what you'd like to do, that's fine. But when we sit and we have the consultation, the buyer's consultation, we go really in depth and we strive to answer all of the questions that they have and even provide them with answers to questions that they didn't even know they needed to know. One thing about it, in this particular market, things are changing, especially here in the greater Atlanta area. You have multiple companies that are buying up single family homes. They are outpricing, excuse me, families that are bidding on properties. So the landscaping of real estate is changing. And a few years back, some of these corporations put it out in the ethers and in the atmosphere that they want to have permanent renters. Think about that. Permanent renters, which means you won't even have the ability to buy if you want to buy. Now, a lot of agents are not talking about this because you know how we think something is not real until it hits us in the face and then it hits us and it's like, wow. But all the signs are here. There's so much homelessness here in the city because people are not able to afford their rent, let alone a mortgage. And this is where we come in, where we do a multitude of things in helping people in various situations purchase land, pool resources, because that's one of the things that we're going to have to take a look back at, which is pooling our resources and coming together, because that's what every other community does. And that's the advantage that they have over us. They pool their resources to buy real estate. So just think about it. You have 50 acres available and you $100,000. That's five families putting in $20,000 and bam, there you have it. So there's definitely a multitude of ways to get involved in real estate outside of just purchasing a home. But whatever it is that you decide that you want to do, just give us a call, 470-779-3759, and any one of our agents would be glad to assist.
It's right there scrolling at the bottom of your screen, brothers and sisters. So make sure you jot it down. Like I said, this is about winning and dominating. And it's not about flossing, right? It's not about, car. I mean, don't get me wrong, get those things, but after, right? After. You don't, that's not the first thing you do. And we're talking about winning and dominating. They play it totally different. It's a totally different game. The first part, the money game, I call it, that's the skill set. Winning and dominating is the mindset.
Pardon me.
Because you can play the game and you're playing to lose, right? And I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because our mindset is bad. So, Karimah, let's talk about it as we wrap up the show because we got to come back. Once again, like I said, you can't talk about money in one show and two shows and three shows, brothers and sisters. The purpose of my book in this show, which is a roll off from the book, is so we can see the possibilities for you. So you can see the possibility for you, not for me, for you. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel for you, right? You can see some hope for you and your family, right? But so you can pull the onion, you peel the onion back so you can go on your own discovery, right? You have to go on your own discovery for freedom, right? But we're here to help. We're here to help you. You get on the list, you go to the moneygamebook.com so you can get on that list because I'm going to bring this to the cream because we got to have another show. She talked about wholesaling, she talked about fix and flip, she's talking about container homes, right? Sister Karimah, if you
Yes.
can, sister, in the next 2 minutes, give us the concept, paint them the picture, the concept, since you will be addressing it later on this year through your real estate company. Share with them the idea of a container home community. You and I have had conversations before. Please give them the brief uh,
Yeah.
shortcut of that.
Well, it's been my vision for a number of years to have a container home, and I'm working on my own container home project right now. But as a means of affordable housing, to purchase the land, to build the containers, to sell the container homes affordably to families that are within certain income guidelines. And that's like it in a nutshell. So we're always looking for contractors. We're always looking for investors to help fund these projects and maybe be the mortgage holder or the note holder for a family instead of us using the financial institutions. So we really have to get back to being a cohesive unit using infinite banking, bartering, and these types of
Yeah.
things. So that's what the goal is, just to create a beautiful, affordable, safe community.
Now let's go a little deeper, Sister Karima. All right, let's go deeper. I want you to speak now specifically to the believers, the followers of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Since this show, this network is geared towards primarily uh, the believers and then our family as a whole. Now, talk to them about how that fits in with the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Container Home Project. Give them that vision as far as the time in which we're living in and why is it so important.
Well, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us that time dictates the agenda. And we can see that there's some different things going on, and we are wrapping up. We are in the fullness of time. And we have been taught to buy land, to pool resources, to grow our own food. And that is what the container community would be instrumental in helping us to do, to be a community, to grow our own food, to be able to barter. If you're growing lettuce and we're growing tomatoes, then we're going to barter and we're going to pool our resources and help one another. And it's not difficult. We did it a few years back with just a few people. We raised the money in 35 days amongst us from contract to closing on the property. So it can be done. And I understand that we've been hurt and we've been traumatized. That's why the minister gave us prayer, the study guides, and he gave us auditing. There is no reason for any of us to be caught ill prepared if we go ahead and pool our resources and do what needs to be done. And don't think that just by moving outside of the city that you're losing something. If you move outside of the city in a rural area, you can have your home built, have a container home, have a mobile home, have a tiny home, or whatever it is that you want to have. But it is really time for us to focus on uniting, unifying, pulling our economy back together, and supporting one another.
Exactly, exactly. And that's why, brother, says you have to buy my book, of course, shameless plug, and also make sure you come on these shows the second and fourth Sunday of every month, 6 p.m. Central, because we're going to help you. Because see, it's because of the lack of knowledge that we have that we're taking advantage of by whomever, right? So we have to take some responsibility. I say it in my book, right? If you're going to win and dominate the money game, you have to take full responsibility for your financial future. Full, not 85%, not 70, full 100% your responsibility. 100%. So that means you have to have some basic understanding about money, basic understanding about investing. You have to have a basic comprehensive understanding, competency, I should say, basic competency, right? So you got to get that from somewhere. You get it from here, right? And that's why in my book I talk about investments and things of that nature, but I also talk about sales and marketing. I also talk about politics and finance, politics and empowerment. I always talk about metaphysics and these things that you won't find in the money book because I know that's what we need. That's what we need, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, before we close out, I want to ask Sister Karima one more question. One more question. Brothers and sisters, if you're watching us tonight, obviously, you see how beautiful Sister Karima looks? You see how she is dressed, modestly dressed, but very professional, very respectful. So let me ask you, Sister Karima, in a male dominated industry, which is real estate, right? And we living in a secular world, right? Nobody would fault you if you still wore something modest, right? It wasn't, exposing yourself and short skirts and all that kind of stuff. But you choose to wear the garment that has been given to the sisters in the Nation of Islam. You choose not to wear that in your personal life, not to wear that in your social life. You choose to wear that in your professional life. Why do you do that? You don't have to. Why do you do it,
I
Sister
don't
Kareem?
I don't have to. I have been given a gift. Allah, Master Father Muhammad, gave us a gift. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us a gift of these beautiful garments. And the garments are not only a protection, but it's to let the world know who we are. I am not ashamed of who I am. I love my headpieces and the garments that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan have given us. We are bringing in a new world and we are representing the God and representing something different. Whereas sometimes, people will get turned off because they don't understand what the covering represents, and they may not want to work with us, and that's okay because Allah didn't mean for them to work with us. So I represent, and the team that we work with represent a standard. We are not ashamed. We are not afraid. And so the business that we have is word of mouth. We get business from our Christian brothers and sisters, our Hebrew brothers, Moorish scientists. We get business from other people, word of mouth. Because it's one thing about it, when you strive to represent well and you do good business, people will work with you and they will refer other people to you. So most of our business is referral business. And so that is why I and the team wear our headpieces, our garments, our tams unapologetically.
Yeah, thank you, sis, for doing that. Thank you for representing and showing our sisters, right, that they don't have to do that. They don't have to show themselves, right, because that puts them in uncompromising positions. And that's not necessary. But it says to win the money game, to dominate the money game, it's a mindset. It's a mindset. You can't have the mindset of scarcity, right? You can't have the mindset, if I don't do this, I'll lose this. No. Have the mindset, as I said earlier in the show, of abundance. If I do this, I'm going to get this. You always look at what you're going to receive, not what you're giving up and what you're losing. That's the mindset, playing the money game. I call it in the book, I call it the money game not to lose. You playing not to lose. So you going, yeah, Sister Karimah, that sound good, but yeah, but see, you playing not to lose, not really knowing those that play to win and dominate. They know that by you playing not to lose, you losing. By you not taking a calculated risk in areas that have proven to be good, like real estate. See, we trying all this latest and greatest and crypto and and all this stuff, right? Just think about it, and we'll close out here shortly, brother. So just think about it. Oh, e-commerce, oh, e-commerce, oh, e-commerce, not real estate e-commerce. Okay, where your computer sitting at? Is it just floating in the air? Why are you tapping on it? Right? Where's the laptop come from? Pieces in that come from the earth. Plastic come from chemicals and oil, and you know what I'm saying? You sitting at a desk that's on the floor on the earth. When you get your books from Amazon, the truck gotta get on there on the road that's on the ground on the earth. It's getting shipped from a warehouse that's on the ground on the earth. That's taking up real estate that somebody got to pay for. Somebody got to rent out. Go to a truck that's driving down a road that folks paying taxes on to come up to your apartment that you live in. So how you gonna be a human being and escape the earth? You're eating food from the earth. Clothes come from the earth. See, so we have to, like Sister said, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, and the truth is the truth for everybody. If a devil followed the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they'll live in heaven. As old folks say, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Well, we don't smoke, but you understand what I'm saying. See, so this is the kind of mindset we're bringing to the show, brothers and sisters, because we have to understand when it comes to the money game, it has nothing to do with your morality. You can be a good person, pray all day, all night, right? Wouldn't treat treat an ant wrong if it crossed in your pathway. You'll stop and twist your ankle to let the ant go by. But you can be poor and ragged and naked and out of doors. And you can have somebody that's wicked, evil, don't even believe in God, not just an atheist, satanic worshiper, and living good. See, we'll blame God or lose our faith and wonder, God, I'm so righteous and pious, and it's because we're not following universal laws and principles. And that's the metaphysics of the reality of the universe in which we live in. And those that understand that accompany that with anything in the universe, health, relationships, and money. When they marriage those things together, then they win and dominate. All right, brothers and sisters, you see, sister, you see we have on the screen, since we're about money, we got to talk about, thank you, Brother Sean, we got to talk about donating, right? That's what I'm saying. So don't, fantasizing, romanticizing the ideal of money. I have a saying that goes like this. You can stand at the highest mountain in America, scream with a microphone in America. If you ain't putting your money where your mouth is, ain't nobody trying to hear what you got to say. So go Cash App, $ TMG show. That's the Money Game Show. It costs money to bring this show to you. And as long as you don't have no skin in the game, you never take it serious. See, that's another principle we're gonna talk about. You gotta have skin in the game. Most Honorable Elijah Mom said, "Warfare means fair wear to freedom." You ain't working for no money. The government taking care of you, so you ain't gonna never have freedom when stuff just given to you freely. You don't have skin in the game. So we got to stop this kind of stuff because we'll never win. We'll be 1,000 years old, still be broke because we haven't learned the principles of success. So, brothers and sisters, go to that Cash App, any donation, TMG show, pays for the show. And as we grow and have more episodes and build more value, we're going to start having fundraising campaigns. Oh, yeah. We're going to start having fundraising campaigns. Okay? And you see there on the square, and support Closing the Gap Network. If it wasn't for them holding the fort open long enough for Brother Daryl and the Money Game show to materialize from a book, then we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here, brothers and sisters. So you have to start investing and continue to invest. As sisters say, we've been hurt. Everybody been burnt. That's part of the learning process. That's part of the learning process, brothers and sisters. See, so we're going to tell you the truth here. We're not going to lie to you. We're not going to just tell you stuff because we're trying to sell you stuff. We're not going to do that because that's not right. And that's what's been done to us before. As the scriptures say, all those that come before me have been robbers and thieves. Why? Because they did not tell you what you needed to be free. Yeah, improve your condition. But God wants us to be free. 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 The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said full and complete freedom. Not this stuff we see here. All right, brothers and sisters. So donate to Closing the Gap. You see it there on your screen. Donate to the Money Game Show, TMG Show, Cash App, $ TMG Show. If you got $10, split it in half. See, that's another principle, right? You put some on all important things, not just all in one and some in the other, and then the other ones with zeros. If you got $20, put 10 on Closing the Gap, 10 on the Money Game Cash App. You see it on the bottom of your screen there. Go to CTG Broadcast channel on YouTube. Subscribe, hit notification, and share, brothers and sisters. You can share these broadcasts. Share them because we're building a movement, right? We're going to have private meetings. Like I said, we're going to have private shows. We're going to have, private events. When I was a stockbroker, I learned these people ain't have no press conference to tell everybody what they're doing. Where we get that from, right? Yeah. They meet in private, under secrecy, with the clear understanding. This ain't for everybody. This is just for us. And you're invited in this circle. And you can be disinvited in this circle. Because we created this circle. And if you want, you can create your own circle. But you have guidelines, like they say, codes. right? Just like I heard our regional minister, Brother Halim Muhammad, say today at the mosque, right? Even the OGs, he had code you had to follow in the streets when the OGs was around. Right? Had codes. Yeah, they was doing this, that, and the other, but you just didn't. Them youngsters didn't just get into the game, the street game, and just do what the hell they wanted to. The OGs gave them the code in which you got to follow these streets by. Don't mess with the elderly women. Don't mess with the children. That's why pedophiles catch hell. Now everything else is game, but the elders and the children, you leave them alone. If not, we coming after you. That's how it used to be in the street. The gangs used to be. So we're gonna have a code, brothers and sisters, because we're gonna talk about enemies to your money, enemies to you and I winning and dominating at the money game. We're gonna make it very clear so even a fool can understand. So, brothers and sisters, the second and fourth Sunday of the month, right? 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be back by God's grace with another exciting episode of the Money Game so black people can win and dominate. And as I always say, I won't see you from the top. Oh, no, 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 no. I'll see you at the top because you coming with us. Because you, your family, but most importantly, our black community deserves your very best. Until next time, may Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.
So